Hello and welcome to the Dr. Ayaz Safi podcast. In this episode, I am delighted to be joined by Diva Patang. Diva is a political analyst, the founder of Diva Group, a PhD candidate, TV presenter, worked in Afghanistan Embassy in London, and a mega entrepreneur. Diva and I delve into a detailed conversation about Afghanistan under the Taliban, Diva's recent trip to Afghanistan, women's rights, education, and her successful business career. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you have such a rich introduction with holding so many different roles and positions. For example, you worked in the RTA as a presenter, you're a political analyst, a CEO, and a successful business as well. I just want to understand, how do you or did you manage so many different roles and so well?
Well, I think it's always the most important thing is having a goal in your life, like a dream, where you want to get in your life and why you want to get there and how would you be able to get there. I think I have always dreamed to be very financially independent, to be the owner of something big so that I would be able to help and support people who will be working with me. So that was a dream that I tried to work toward it, and I think I had to take all the steps that you done in your introduction to be able to get to my goal. And I'm still going, and I still have a lot of ambitions and hopes that I would be able to get somewhere even bigger where I am right now.
I think you are a prime example and a role model to many people, especially within the Afghan communities here in the UK and also in other parts of the world. I think that's a footstep that many young people, men and females, I think should follow to have that vision, that big goal, uh, such as you had, and I think you made it a success. So well done on that. I applaud you on that.
Thank you so much.
Um,
So yes, I always speak to youngsters. I always tell them that try to concentrate on education, and beside education, always try to find your dream job and a job that you would be able to progress and get somewhere where you want to get. Never wait for somebody else to come in your life to bring some changes. Always try to work toward those changes yourself and try to always aim high. Even if you think it's impossible, try to work toward it. And I'm sure when we try our best, we can always achieve it because God, when God is with you, when your parents' prayers are with you, I think you would be able to get to your goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, thank you for that. Tiwa, you worked with the previous government of Afghanistan, and you were here in London Embassy. As part of that, or in addition to that, you also were the national TV presenter for Afghanistan. Can you tell us a little bit about those roles and your journey, please?
Well, yes, I was always interested in Afghanistan. Although I grew up here in the UK, I studied here in the UK, but I never forgot my country. It was something that I have always read in the books, what was really the situation in my country.
Mm.
But I always believed that I thought that there are some other hands that are not letting my country to progress. So I tried to find a job within that sector, within Afghanistan, where I would be able to learn even more. So I joined Afghanistan Embassy, and at the time it was Dr. York, who was our ambassador here. He kindly asked me if I would be able to come and assist him because his secretary was on holiday. So when I joined, and he then asked me if I could stay and be full time at the embassy. Although I was doing my master's at the time, I thought I need to finish my master's and then I would be able to join you guys full time. And this is exactly what happened. When I completed my master's, I joined the embassy straight away. And that was a new journey for me because a lot of things were very new to me. People within the embassy were very new, and the way they were working, because I was really used to the English environment. But I've learned a lot, like I said. There was a lot of ups and downs, but my aim has always been there to help people, because I had a very bad experience when I was a child, when I attended an Afghan embassy, where I was not treated very well. So I thought that I need to change that, and I need to bring that change. Although I did not have a very strong position where I was able to bring changes, but slowly I tried to to bring those changes, so that I can give good service, I can
Yeah.
help my people, I can raise my voice. And I think Afghans who are living in the UK, who visited embassy, I don't think so that any of them would have had a bad experience whilst
No.
I was there. And I have always raised my voice for my people, for my country, even if it was something bad that the government would have done at the time, although I was working for the embassy.
Yeah.
But I have always stood for the right. I have always raised my voice. And I was called at the embassy that, oh, she's the only person who, if there's something wrong, she would raise her voice.
Yeah.
But I think that was within me, and I wanted that. And not a lot of your ambassadors would like it, but to be very honest, I was very lucky. People who I worked with, they were very nice people. They wanted change, and they wanted to assist for the change.
I think so, and I think one of the things that I can vouch for is that there were some cases that, because we all trying to help others within our communities and stuff, that they approached me a couple of years ago when you were at the embassy, and I think I've messaged you late at night and early morning. You came back to me with a respondent saying, "Yep, asked him to come," and I think there were like 3 people, including one sister, and their problem was resolved. So I think many people still, when they see me, I think they do talk about your service and how well they were kind of served at the embassy and the welcoming. So that's something I think I can personally vouch for, the good
Thank you so
that you have
much.
done. Yeah, no,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for
much,
that.
Dr. Sab. I think it's always, very important when we try to help our people and put ourselves in their shoe. How would we feel if we get
Absolutely.
treated like that? And as I said, I was, because of the childhood experience when I attended with my mother there and I was not nicely welcomed, that was something in my mind. And I wanted really to bring those changes, especially some people would, because of ethnicity, they would treat certain people
Yeah,
differently. And I wanted to break that barrier completely. So anyone who would enter my office or try to ask me for assistance, if I was not able to assist them straight away right there, but I would definitely make sure that the
yeah,
assistance would be provided, and I would not let them down and go home without hope. And I did this whilst I was there at the embassy, and I think that legacy stayed even after me. People who continue to work there, they try their best. But I think this is usually, Dr. Ashraf, comes from the young generation,
it does.
because our
Yeah.
old generation are very, they concentrate a lot on bureaucracy, and they try to make things very difficult for you, whereas we live in a world of technology. We need to make things easier.
Well,
I
absolutely.
remember people were asked to come all the way from Glasgow to just get a child visa, and I was like, why would you do this?
Yeah,
We can do this over the post. Just we can send it to them. We don't need to do, give them so much of trouble. Also for passports, we can do video calls and do the
yeah,
interviews over the video, because for us is to, find out that they're really Afghans, or they really belong to that country or not. If they do belong to that country, where they are coming from, the part of the country doesn't matter. They're
yeah,
Afghan. They are eligible for those
absolutely.
services. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, I think these, you mentioned something about the younger generation and the education side of them. Again, I totally agree with that, because the younger and the educated they are, the more contemporary ways and easy ways, accessible ways they will find to help serve their people. And again, that's a very good point. But working in the embassy, providing so much support, and you are a political analyst, and also you are someone who has a prominent um, profile within the Afghan community and also in the international community as well. Many people were devastated when the Afghan government has collapsed on the 15th of August in 2021. What was your initial thought, and how did you come to terms with the collapse? Because you were part of the government prior to that.
Well, to be honest, Dr. Shaib, I left Afghan embassy prior to the Taliban. I think it was a year or 2 years before
Yeah.
that I left, because I wanted to pursue a business career where I wanted to grow in the business sector, because I didn't see that I would be able to progress any further at the embassy. It was something like a 9 to 5 job where I didn't want to continue in that way. I wanted to be there for my Afghan people, but then I thought, well, I can also do this through the diaspora because I can stand next to them. I remember when I was at the embassy, I used to get even messages and phone calls from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs telling me that why did I tweet this, why did I write this, why did I give my opinion
Oh
on
wow.
this
Okay.
whilst I'm working at the embassy. But I have always told them, I was like, okay, that's fine. If you want to bring a change, then you need to bring a policy in place. The
Yeah.
policies should be not just for me that you messaging me, telling me to delete something. If your ambassador is within, the world, they are tweeting and are able to express their opinions, why as a female or as an Afghan who lives in London, I'm not able to? And I always pressurized the government to bring proper policies, because it should not be, the policy should not be just for that one individual where you
Yeah.
just make a phone call and try to bring change. This is not how you bring change. And I think that was the time where I was giving them a lot of trouble because I wanted to bring some changes. And I would ask them, okay, write this on a letter and send it to me by, through proper channels. I think that was the time when I thought that, well, I need to come out of the embassy and then I need to do it in a different way where I would be able to bring some changes. And that was the time when I went to business. And the reason why I went to business was because I thought that having a financial independency will be
Yeah.
crucial for my voice. If I don't have that financial independency, I will not be able to have that strong and powerful voice. So I thought that, well, let me back myself up with my finances first, and then I would be able to, bring myself back into the politics. And this is exactly what I've done. But unfortunately, when, like you asked me about the collapse of Afghanistan, I was not part of the government
Yeah.
at the time. I was doing my own business, but this was something crucial for all of us.
Yeah.
Especially seeing those planes, people running after them. I think that was the most painful part, where my people are running away from their own country. They want to leave. They want to, find refuge in a different
Yeah.
country. I think that was the most devastating and painful part of that collapse. But then at the same time, to be very honest, I knew that that collapse is going to happen, because
Okay.
we could see that, especially for the last few months, the things that were changing,
Yeah.
and the appointments that were changing, and the behavior of the government and the Taliban and the US government. I knew that something like this is going to happen, but I never knew that my people are going to die leaving their country, are going to, run after the planes. This was something I think our people didn't deserve.
So heartbreaking. People, as you mentioned, dropping off the
Absolutely.
plane, and also the bomb blast or that took place in the near the airport that killed tons of our innocent country people, which is very, very upsetting. And this is unfortunately to do with the lack of leadership, and also with the unfortunate situation. And that lack of leadership was not just only, I think, to do with the Afghanistan leadership, but also the external partners that had just left out so irresponsibly, and everything that has happened, and from what we've known from our leadership. But again, this would be something we would discuss a little bit in details from your point of view as well. Now, Taliban are replaced back, for example. They've now in charge of the whole Afghanistan. How do you see the Afghanistan under the Taliban leadership now?
Well, I mean, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the policies that they've got, especially for education-wise, where our girls are not able to study, our ladies are not able to participate in certain jobs, to be able to help the country to grow up, or become part of the international community. I think at the moment our country is isolated, and of course, like I said, when changes are happening, it should not be at the cost of where our country is going down.
Yeah.
I'm not happy, but at the same time, I think we should not give up. We should not
Mhm.
give up, and we should continue to work with the current government to force them to bring changes, to force them to bring changes in their policies, the way they do governance. Like I said, I think it was something that we were expecting, but I personally, I thought that education will be something that, especially for the new generation of the Taliban, they will understand that education is very,
Yeah.
very crucial.
Mm.
But I think this is the case within their, hierarchies. If you look at it, a lot of their new generation are not happy too what their leadership are doing. That they ban girls from schools. they're talking, they always express their opinions, but the problem is that nobody hears them and nobody hears us.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think is not just bothering myself, is bothering every single Afghan who has done some education and
Yeah.
believes in education
I think
power.
so.
So at the moment, I'm not very happy, but I think we should not give up on
Yeah.
our hopes.
Thank you for that. You mentioned something that we should try and engage with the Taliban in different policies or dialects to trying to kind of obviously give our contribution in whatever way is possible. When we hear the leadership of the Taliban, they are very kind of trying to isolate themselves, for example, from certain things. Or maybe they come to a kind of a term saying either it's our way or a highway, for example. How can we, from basically people who lives outside of the country, can actually interact with them if they're not welcoming or if they're not willing to kind of accommodate that interaction and then take the views or that um, information on board from their point of view? Is there any way that you think would be potential
I
to
think,
connect with
Dr.
them?
Shabit, they cannot ignore us.
Mm,
They cannot ignore people who live outside Afghanistan or
yeah,
who live in Afghanistan. I think we have very strong activists within Afghanistan who try to raise their voice, and
mm,
believe me or not, it does affect them.
mhm,
Look at, from the first day that they entered Afghanistan,
mm,
and now you look at them, they have improved, and they try to show improvement. Like I said, there is that generation, the old mentality of Taliban
yeah,
who are in the leadership, unfortunately, right now, they have this thinking of, ban women from education,
mm,
ban women from work. We should, their whole concentration is all about women and banning things. They think that this is how governments can run. But the new generation has completely changed, especially
yeah,
interacting with people like myself and you, and they're seeing the world. They are on TikTok, they are on
yeah,
Facebook and social media. They are aware of the world. They know what the world is up to. But
yeah,
it's Afghanistan that has been left behind. I know engagements at the moment might not be as straightforward, but we
mm,
cannot give up, and
no,
we can see that at the moment, even the international community is trying to have engagement with them. And the reason is because they have their own interest. Their own national interest is to have that engagement. We cannot, ignore that.
yeah,
The Taliban who are in the leadership, they're Afghans. We cannot just, say that they're not Afghans, they don't exist. That's the mentality that we have to work. Unfortunately, within 40 years, Afghanistan leadership has never worked from the bottom up approach. They have always tried to work from
mm,
the top approach
yeah,
to, to try bring changes. If we want sustainable change, we need to bring that from the bottom up, because if you try to educate people from the bottom, that's where the education will be sustainable. The reason why
absolutely,
Afghanistan education or the leadership or politics, nothing gets or stays sustainable is purely because we never use that approach. We always think that, well, I'm in the leadership right now, I am a minister, or I am a leader of this place, or I am the person who says whatever I say, it gets done. That's it. That's important. That's why the sustainability is not there. So my recommendation has always been, even for to the previous government and to this government, try to work towards bottom up approach and
yeah,
bring changes. So right now, what we can see that the Taliban has been very good at that, because
mm,
they try to use children to educate them, to have that mentality, to tell them that, look, the things that's happening in Afghanistan is is not good for our faith, and is against Islam. And that's how they use that bottom up approach to bring those changes, the things that they wanted, because those bottom up approach people going to go home and talk about it.
yeah,
And this is exactly what the Taliban has done. But unfortunately, our previous government, the Republic government, failed in this. And this is something very painful, because I am supporter of the Republic government. I'm
mhm,
supporter of that system, but I am strongly not supporter of few individuals that were part of that
absolutely.
government.
Oh no, definitely. I think that the few individuals were the ones that were in a very strong position, which had the ability to change a lot of things. But I think they've failed quite miserably, and we all seeing now the results and the consequences of that failure. Um, we were talking about the education aspect here and the Taliban leadership. Now, you were working as the TV presenter for the national TV of Afghanistan as well. So since Taliban taken over, lots of things has happened in Afghanistan. Lots of, like as we say, restrictions and bans and females is in particular. I haven't seen you in a long time representing the RTA aspect now since the Taliban taken over. Is this something that you left by your choice, or were you kind of fired by the Taliban? And what were your view to that?
Well, one thing I want to be very clear that I have never worked directly with
Mm,
RTA. I have always supported. I was
yeah,
not contracted. I was not getting paid. It was something on a voluntary basis that I was trying to give my service, my time to the country, to my people, and also at the same time, it was something that I love to do. I love to, be part of my people so that I would be able to, support in a different way because I thought that media is very, very important.
yeah,
And to be honest, I did succeed, and I think that was a successful journey. We did manage to, bring the changes that we wanted to, but as I said, the collapse has changed a lot of things. I think you not only have not seen me on. RTA. I think since the time the Taliban has come in, no female has been on their
yeah.
TV show at all. So they completely banned every lady
Mm,
to present on the radio television Afghanistan. I've not left the TV on my own choice. It was I was only there when I was required.
mm,
I would be there to support big programs, opening programs, or any big events.
yeah.
I would try to give my time to my people. Like I said again, I was not paid and I was not contracted. It was all done on voluntary basis.
And I think that that service again, um, personally speaking, I think it was very very well received by the Afghan people and also from the international community, because I think when you were there and when the new chairman or the director of the RTA came in, I think there was some sort of a vision and a hope that the RTA will become a nice and regional um, kind of a broadcast. And with you helping and other colleagues helping, I think it was an emerge or a verge of going that direction. So it's now everything's kind of went backward. And I think I remember, if memory serves me correctly, there were some backlashes from I think some of the journalists from Afghanistan blaming certain amount of money and stuff, and then I think you clarified that and that this was a voluntary basis, and in fact you actually paid it from your pocket to a certain trips and stuff as well. Um,
Well, Dr. Ashraf, the thing is that I think Miakhil Saib at the time, who
mm,
was the RTA general director,
yeah,
he had the vision, he had a dream where he wanted to bring a lot of changes. He wanted to turn RTA to be competing with the world services like
yeah,
BBC, Al Jazeera, and this was something that he was aiming for and he was working toward it. And I think he was very successful.
yeah,
Unfortunately, the time didn't let him
yeah,
to fulfill all the goals that he had for the TV. I'm not going to take all the credit because I think I was the smallest part of that success. There were a lot of hardworking colleagues who tried to bring those changes, who tried to work day and night to to work toward those goals. In regards to the blame that it was on me, I think it's very normal when you go to a new place. You will get some people who would be not happy for you to be there. They
yeah,
think that, well, you're here, you might have come, to steal their work, but actually they didn't realize that I'm only there for 2 to 3 days
yeah,
to provide my support, and then I'm going to leave. So I think it was more of colleagues who were working at the TV. They try to use that propaganda
mm,
to try to maybe silence myself or try to that I'm gonna take a step back. To be very honest, it didn't bother me for a
no,
second because I knew deep down the people who were working with me, they knew deep down what was the situation. They knew that I don't do this for money. They knew that I've got my own business. They knew that people are working for me, that I am making much, much more money than
yeah,
even the whole RTA as a whole, if you take
yeah,
it. So they knew that that was not my need. at all. This is why it didn't bother me. But like I said at the beginning, financial independence is so crucial. I think it would have mentally bothered me if I would have really worked for money, and or I was in need of money. Then that blame would have been able to be
Yeah.
accepted or to be believed by people. But people who knew me, they know that the whole budget of the whole RTA, if you take it, the whole year budget, it's much less than how much I am making myself on my own. But again, like I said, I was doing it for my country, and I will continuously do this. But I will never, those people who know me, that I will never do anything for money when it comes to Afghanistan national interest.
No, thank you for that, and I think that's very kind of you. Still going back to the media aspect and the Taliban and Afghanistan. If we take Afghanistan and the Taliban, as they are currently in charge of the country, are shown by the mainstream media, especially here in the Western world, one can come to a conclusion thinking that there is no hope or future for Afghanistan whatsoever. Also, last time I checked, the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office here in the UK advises against all travel to Afghanistan, and they outline that the security situation in Afghanistan is dangerous. But you recently traveled to Afghanistan. What was your experience like, and did you come across the Taliban, and how was their approach towards you? And also, if you've seen their approach towards other ladies, how was it? Your experience visiting Afghanistan under the Taliban leadership. Also, you went to Afghanistan during the Republic government as well, quite a few times. And now, what was the difference?
Well, Professor, to be very honest, I was not scared of the Taliban even a bit. I think I was more scared of those hooligans, or those people who, always try to, try to bring the criminal gangs. I would
Yeah,
I would call them. That you would see them on the streets. I think I was more scared of them, that they might harm me, and they try to, blame this on the Taliban.
mm,
I went there with the hope and with the blessings of my father, and also when I go to a country, as a Muslim, anything can happen to us anywhere if this
yeah,
is the end of our life. This is my belief,
yeah,
that I'm not scared of anything happening to me. I want to explore my country. I have not been able to explore my country. I've not been able to travel through different provinces, whereas in if you look into European countries, I think I've been to most of the European
yeah,
countries, and this is a sad reality where I'm thinking that, well, you've seen the whole Europe, but you haven't seen your own country. And I wanted to go because I was hearing so many different stories, on TV, thinking that, okay, it's completely a nightmare. But when speaking to family, they were telling me that they were absolutely wrong. If you come here, that's not the case. As long as you follow the rules of the country, and you follow, you try to blend in within the
yeah,
people, nobody's gonna even question you why you're here, what you're doing. It's your own country. It's not a problem. So this is exactly what I've done. I went to Afghanistan, and I tried to then. Of course, at the beginning, I thought that the minute I go, my face has to be covered. I
mm,
have to be in a black hijab. But when I landed and I was in the car traveling home, and I've seen all the girls without mask,
mm,
wearing colorful clothes, it gave me a little bit of hope. I was like, oh, okay, so it's not as bad as I was thinking. This is when I was like, okay, if that's the case, of course I'm not going to wear a mask. This is not an obligation in my religion.
mm,
I'm going to wear my own Afghani clothes and travel, different part of my country. This is the aim, and this is why I'm here. So what I've done, to be very honest, only thing I've done with my photo, if you look at
mm,
it, just wrote Salam Afghanistan, and then you look at the racism
yeah,
below that, thinking that, okay, what have I said wrong? I
mhm,
just said hello to my country.
yeah,
And I'm wearing, I know the only thing that I'm against it is the face cover. That
yeah,
I was thinking that, well, I have to, it's an obligation because of the Taliban.
mhm,
But then later, the next day, I'm posting my normal photos and traveling through the country. And I think that really the people who were trying to portray Afghanistan as a nightmare,
Yeah.
it was a slap on their face, thinking that, well, now she's reporting from the ground, saying to people that actually everything is absolutely fine.
Mm,
Believe me or not, Dr. Ashraf, there's so many people contacted me, so many
mm,
people after me. They went to Afghanistan, they felt safe. They're thinking that, well, you went, who's a person who always speaks up, who always criticized the government. You have criticized them before, and you continuously
yeah.
criticize them now on live TV, and nobody says anything to you. So we, if we are ordinary Afghans, we're not going to be harmed at all. So I always recommend to my Afghan ladies and men, if you're going to Afghanistan, go. There's no harm to
Mm,
visit your families. I think it's more giving them hope. Blend in. Try to, be part of them. Don't try to, be anything above them. Try
yeah.
to be like them. If you're going somewhere, don't try to, show that you're a different person. You came
Mm,
from a different world completely, and they're living in a jungle, and you came from a Hollywood movie. So don't try to do that. Try to give them that good hope. I think
yeah.
that was something that was important. And also, you mentioned about the Foreign Office
Yeah.
message that it's dangerous. Don't go to Afghanistan.
Mm.
You know how many tourists are applying for tourism visa throughout the whole world,
I've
going to
seen that.
Afghanistan?
Yeah. Apparently, it's the tourists to Afghanistan are now increasing. So I love your views on that, please. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can tell you that because I stayed at the embassy. I've got a
Mm,
lot of friends throughout the whole, our embassies. They always talk to me, and we're
mm,
in communication. They say to me that the number of visas that we issue to tourist, visitors now, not just from the UK, from the whole
mm,
world, it's incredible because they're like, okay, yes, I understand a lot of these tourists might not be purely tourists. There might be some of them, going for their own work, and they might
yeah.
be
Yeah.
going there as intelligence officers or etc. But that message, of course, is an obligation by
Yeah.
the Foreign Office of this country, because they're not recognizing
Mm,
Afghanistan yet. So they're just giving that message. But to be very honest, a lot of people are traveling. When I was on the plane to Afghanistan, the plane was completely full. There was
wow.
no space. There was completely no space. It was completely full. So imagine how many planes are landing or
Yeah.
leaving Afghanistan. So there's a lot of that coming and going, and people continue to leave. So I know that
Yeah.
the government changed, but we cannot, stop us visiting our country. And I think I have the full right, and I will visit
Yeah.
Afghanistan, and I have plans to visit Afghanistan this year again, and I will be visiting my country every single year, just to see my country. Because last time when I didn't have much time to visit all the provinces, so this time I'm planning to visit all the other provinces that I'm thinking of.
That I think that gives a lot of hope to people um, here externally who are living outside of Afghanistan. Afghans, those who are not Afghans and wish to go to Afghanistan, because Afghanistan has a rich history, has a rich culture. There is so much to explore in Afghanistan, and because of the safety reasons, even when the Republic government was in place, it was basically was unsafe to travel to different provinces and the cities to explore. I think from what I've been hearing now, and especially your trip to Afghanistan, kind of gave a hope to people to say, you know what, it's safe. If someone with that profile and that critical mindset, for example, um, can go to Afghanistan and who work with the previous government as well, and who has criticized the leadership of the Taliban currently in live TVs, and they're aware of this, for example. So I think things have changed, and we can only hope that it will change for better. You have a very huge followings on your social media platforms, and as we mentioned throughout, you are a well-known individual. So still staying on the trip to Afghanistan, when you went to Afghanistan, did you receive any concerns from international organizations or governments or any influential individuals about your trip, and what was your response to them?
Well, from the international community, I know majority of them. To be honest, they were all praising me, thinking that well done, it's very brave of
Mm,
you to be
nice.
there. The United Nations reached out. The things that they were getting reports on.
Mm,
I was telling them, I was like, listen, I want you to understand that we have a political issue in Afghanistan. Even the schools being banned, that's a political decision. This is not part of our culture, not part of our religion.
Mm.
This is a political, issue that we need to deal with. But we cannot undermine the whole country people
Yeah,
saying that, well, you know what, this is how you guys are thinking, or we have to isolate you completely. We still have hopes. We have to work with the current government. We have to try our best to force them
yeah,
to change their policies. But we cannot do this while having a gun on their head and saying that this is
yeah,
what you have to do. If you kill one, you don't. You know what? There's so many other Taliban will be reborn, because this is what exactly has happened. We
yeah.
tried to kill them, but we were not able to kill the roots
No,
of that ideology. And the reason why was is because there were a lot of innocent people who got died, a lot of innocent children who
yeah,
lost their parents, and they grew up with that anger, thinking that, okay, you killed my father. Why did you kill my father? He was not a Talib. He was
mm,
just a normal farmer. Why did you do this?
yeah,
Why did you enter my house? Why did you, disrespect my woman? And this is the anger that those people grew up, and that turned them to go and join the Taliban. So if we want to bring changes, we have to use different techniques, not the techniques that you guys were using: bomb
mm,
people, kill people, destroy their houses. We have to find a better way, because we cannot kill terrorism with terrorism.
no,
So we have to kill that ideology with education, with diplomacy, with talks, not with war. So this is why, Dr. Asif, if you realize that since the Taliban has come in, I have always dictated that war is not the solution for
no,
our country. We cannot keep killing people. I know that since the Taliban has come in, the number of people dying has decreased,
yeah,
but then we need to work. How can we actually make this sustainable? Is that going to be just for the time being when the Taliban are in power, and the minute they're off, we're going to see all people dying again? So I think this is something that we need to work toward it, and that's why a lot of people, you would see that, oh, you actually being a spokeswoman for
yeah,
the Taliban, you talk
yeah.
on
I've
their
seen those
behalf.
claims. Yes, yeah,
Yes. So I tell them, I was like, I think you guys are just living in a cuckoo world.
mm, mm,
Think out of the box. What is this, solution? Are we going to go and beg UK, America, France, and all these countries, please give us money so we can, kill those people? How many are you going to kill?
yeah,
We
yeah,
have that mentality that we have to work with. That, the bottom up approach, like I said to you, the
yeah,
Taliban are good at that. They've used. How can you kill that?
yeah,
And I think this is something that crucial, that through your programs, that detailed discussion can
yeah,
happen. How can we, change the mentality through talking, and bring expertise,
mm,
especially young people like you, Dr. Saab, that,
thank you.
putting your effort into programs like this is very, very important, because youngsters are listening to it,
Yeah,
especially people who maybe born in outside Afghanistan.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
interested on Afghanistan, but because I always, all my programs are in Pashto or Dari,
yeah, yeah.
so this is important that you're doing it for English, especially for the new generation, that they
Thank you.
understand that let's work toward our country through different means than war. uh,
Absolutely.
and if somebody is calling me a lobbyist or calling me to be spokeswoman, to be honest, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah,
And the reason is because what is important for me is my, like I said, vision. I have
absolutely.
vision that
Yeah,
I want, try to dictate for my country's national interest,
yeah,
not through the war, but through talking.
absolutely. And I think if we stay on this topic here for another minute or so, if that's okay, you know, lots of youngsters within the community and across the different countries, as you mentioned, especially the Afghans that are been born outside or been kind of grown up outside, like yourself and I, for example, we don't want war. We want the country to progress in a positive way so everybody can breathe in a peace. But given that there is a resistance team now, for example, um, that are trying to kind of trying different avenues to seek the support and do something um, in a violent matter in Afghanistan, and also another individual who was, I think, an army general before, Sami Sadat, for example, and Khushal Sadat, although their work was very well received and appreciated when they were in power. But now, since they've been in the UK, they're trying to, for example, get together and mostly what we hear from, especially in the Sameh Sadat, is a violent tone. For example, that he's thinking that one of the solution is to take, for example, Taliban down and free the country again. What would be the alternative? Say, for example, if Taliban have been replaced by these groups, who would lead, and what would be what would that leadership look like, for example? And would that, do you think is that's a suitable approach that they're taking?
Well, firstly, the approach that they're taking, that's their own personal
Yeah.
view. I don't want to be part of war. And I think some of them are my friends.
Hmm.
I know them. If that's the avenue they want to take, but this is not the avenue I believe in. I
Hmm.
believe that I understand that because they come from a military
Yes.
background and that
Yeah.
this is how they think, and which is understandable. Whereas I don't come from a military
Yeah.
background. I think differently. I always think that diplomacy works better than war. War can, if war would have brought any changes, then the war that has been happening for the
Yeah.
last 40 years, why it was not sustainable
Yeah.
peace in my country then. I think the alternative at the moment, all the Afghans, especially the youngsters, they're completely lost. If somebody
Yeah.
asks me, who do you think can be an alternative, I would go into silence.
Mm.
But at the same time, I think the alternative for Afghanistan is the new generation.
Yes.
Um, I do not see anyone at the moment that, even the current regime that is there, I don't think so that will be sustainable.
Mm.
We
Mm.
will have some changes, and I strongly believe that once the US elections will be over, we will see slowly some changes happening in Afghanistan. But I don't want those changes to turn into, a conflict
Yes.
within my
Yeah.
own people, where we're
Yeah.
going to fight with each other, because this is not good for anybody's interest
No.
except our neighbors' interests.
No, absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I think that we have good potential candidates within my country,
Mm.
youngsters who think very positively, who also think that the importance of the national interest of the country. There are plenty of people with vision and good heart for the country. They would be able to come forward, but when the situation is critical on the ground, I think it's quite difficult to find it because they're not able to raise their
No.
voices.
Absolutely.
Uh, the voice that we raise at the moment from it's not from within Afghanistan, it's from
No.
outside Afghanistan,
Yeah.
which is important. But then at the same time, like I said, I can tell you that a lot of youngsters within the current regime, they're not happy
Mm.
with a lot of the policies that they are, have been put up with to work under.
Oh yeah, I think so. From the whatever is happening now in Afghanistan, from speaking to so many different people, and knowing and understanding, I think uh, generally the public aren't very satisfied with every approach that has been taken, pretty much, especially the approach that's under restriction on the education side for the women and the girls. And I think I always think, and I ask this question, and again, your input on this would be really appreciated, is like the way that the previous government has been replaced. God forbid if that happens again, for example, and like as you mentioned, if Taliban were to be replaced similar to what has happened to almost 3 years ago, wouldn't that then break into another civil war within the country? And can we afford that? Because we've already lost millions of people in the war of other people, for example, and injured millions of others, our own civilians, for example. Can we afford that civil war? And what would be the alternative? And how, unless Taliban changes and they're saying, okay, here is the way, for example, these are our policies, and this is the approach, this is our leader, and either bring the lawyer jargon, or for example, or bring the democratic voting system, or whatever other way they think is best suited for the country, and the people agrees with it. I think, I personally think, I hope I don't see another collapse in the way that we have seen in 2021, because that would again bring a lot of chaos to the country. What do you think on that?
Well, firstly, there's a few things. Firstly, the European community they have completely forgotten about Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not important to them at all. This is the last thing they will think about, especially now what's happening in America, election and etc. They try to keep their seats, try to keep their power. So Afghanistan will be the last thing that they will even bother to talk about. That's one thing. Secondly, they don't have no funds available for any for another war, to try to go to Afghanistan and start a war. This is something that Pakistan is lobbying right now because they're not happy, how their love turned into hatred. So they are trying to lobby now that the country is supporting terrorism, and a lot of these things. That's only because they're not getting that love treatment anymore from the Taliban. They thought that, well, if we bring the Taliban, they will do exactly what we wanted them to do. But they never studied Afghans properly. I always say that if you want to go into Afghanistan, you need to study Afghans properly. If you don't study Afghans properly, you will fail, like all the other countries fail. You can't just think that, well, you know what, we're going to buy them with money. Yes, you might do this for a very short time, but that will not be sustainable. They will give up. They will not sell their own national interest, because once they're in power, that influence of that ghairat, that comes back into their mind. And this is exactly what's happened, with the Taliban. I know that, we all know that Pakistan was our foreign office, talking on our behalf, and now turned out to be our enemy. So how comes, as just within 2 years, the love relationship has broken? But at the same time, Dr. Saab, this is an opportunity for the Taliban to clear their name, because they are getting blamed with all this, oh, you're a puppy of the Pakistan, and you do what they're asking you. And this is the time where the Taliban saying that no, we're not. We will defend our own country's borders and our national interest, which is important for Afghans. And I think that was one thing that brought a lot of us together when that and this is something that the Pakistan doesn't want. Pakistan wants another war. They will support those people who want war. They are lobbying within UK and within different countries, governments, to find funding so that they can give it to some stupid Afghans who wants to kill Afghans again, thinking that, well, through the war we would be able to go back into power. But they never realize that you might win against the Taliban, but you will never win the hearts of the Afghans who are living in Afghanistan. Taliban is only maybe 50, 60, 70,000 people, but then we're talking with 40 million people. So this is something that they don't realize. They're thinking that, well, if I, get rid of that, government, then yes, I'm going to be coming back into the government. This is exactly what the Taliban thinking, that, well, if we get rid of Republic, we will be able to win the hearts. But they haven't won the hearts for the last 2 years. We've been fighting with them.
Absolutely.
So I think Taliban has got a very difficult task to deal with. But at the same time, like I said, the international community, like I said, they completely isolated the Afghans. In Afghanistan, they don't have no interest. They don't have no money. And I can tell you that they're not interested in the people who are in contact with them. Like you said, the replacement. At the moment, even the international community says that we don't have no replacement because we're not united. The minute we get united, we would be able to find an alternative. Right now, in every corner of the country, just when, in the UK, how many groups do we have, Afghan groups? And then they don't even talk to each other.
No.
They don't talk when they get invited to events, and I get invited, and I say, okay, why this and that person hasn't come? I was like, boy, they're not talking to each other. I'm like, then what is all this community? Then why are you criticizing the Taliban that they're not talking to us? You within UK, you've got all these, organizations, and you're getting fundings from wherever you're getting them, or doing this on voluntary basis. If you cannot find unity within yourselves, like I personally got approached by so many of these organizations, come and, be part of it. We will make you the leader of this and we will make you the leader of that. And I'm like, listen, I don't believe in these things. The reason is because the minute I do this, that strength of power in my voice will be completely lost, because thinking, okay, she started another organization which will not take us anywhere. And that's purely because we're not united. This is why there's no alternative. The alternative will come from our unity.
Well, definitely. But and I hope we can come into that unity. Let me ask you this question. The Taliban are claiming and that Afghanistan is safer than ever before. You already been to Afghanistan and you outlined that it's actually is a lot better than before. But it's been almost 3 years since they banned girls and women from education. I know we talked about the education, and I know you said you're not happy about that. If Afghanistan is safer, for example, than ever before, how do you kind of see that? Why are girls still being banned from education and ladies can't attend the universities? Because I know a story of one family who one of the sister had 1 semester left to complete her medical degree, and her sister-in-law had 2 semesters left to complete the medical degree, and one of the niece in that family was in the second year of a teaching degree, and lots of other girls were now can't go to the school because they were beyond year 6. So how do you see this, and what do you think would be the potential long-term consequences of this approach of girls, banning girls and women from education, and its impact on Afghanistan?
It will have a huge impact, a very, very huge impact. And this is exactly what the strategy of our neighboring countries
Mm,
is, to see that downside of our country where our brains will get drained, and day by day we have to go for the brain to other countries and ask them to come and support us,
mm,
because it's very, very important for a country's progress to have educated people within their country. Education will decrease the number of crimes, will decrease the number of depressed people they have,
mm,
and also fatalities, and it's just education will bring so many bright future,
yeah,
not just to the country but to the family lives as well, because right now we have so many people that are struggling financially purely because there was a husband and wife working at the same time, but
yes,
now only husband that has to support, or the daughter was working and now the daughter cannot work anymore.
yeah,
And the girls that you mentioned, that they were not able to continue their education. I think thousands of people we still have like that after the grade
mm,
7, that they cannot continue. And this is a sad reality, and this is something that really bothers every single true Afghan. It doesn't matter how we think
mm,
bad the government is, but we want the best for our people. Education is critical. It's very, very important. But like you mentioned that the security situation, yes, security is much, much better.
mhm,
When I was traveling to different provinces, I was not scared.
mm,
And at the same time, when I was going shopping, or I was with my father everywhere I was going, but at the same time I was feeling safe. I knew that all the men around me
mm,
who are there, they're not there to harm me, but
yeah,
they're to protect me. This is a reality. A lot of people don't like it, thinking that, well, no, we don't like Taliban, then we have to say what is
yeah,
not the reality. Like I said, nobody stopped me
mm,
anywhere to say to me, why are you wearing Afghani clothes, why you're wearing any colorful
yeah,
clothes. As long as you blend in, as long as you have hijab on, and as long as you go to places with respect, you show respect, that's very, very important. A lot of our people, like from the previous government, they used to treat those people with a huge disrespect, thinking that they're dirty, that they
yeah,
are uneducated, that
mm,
they should die, that we should kill them, and they used to disrespect them a lot. And I think that disrespect always stayed. When I was because my father's house in Host,
yeah,
so I had to stay in Serena with my dad.
mhm,
The first day when I entered, so I was covering my face. They looked at my name. They were like, "Oh, Diva, is that you, Diva Patang?" I was like, "Yes, it's me." So they came. They just, did their own normal security checks and
yeah,
etc. So I went in, and then the next time when I came out of the hotel, they were just looking at me weirdly, but at the same time they knew who I was.
mhm,
So I came back to the hotel, and then they were looking at me from far away, and I approached them. I was like, how are you guys?
yeah,
And then they were like, oh, she's talking to us. I said, how are you guys? I was like, has it been a very long day for you? So I showed that respect,
yeah,
and they gave that respect back to me. So I didn't treat them like, they came from jungle and I have to treat them really badly, and I have to tell them that, like, okay, don't come closer to me because I don't like you guys. And then when I went the next time, I brought a lot of Red Bull. So I gave it to them, just to say, guys, I got you something. They
Yeah.
all became our friends. All of them. They were showing so much respect,
Yeah.
saying that you're the first female to treat us nice. They're normal soldiers. They're
Oh
normal
yeah,
human being.
absolutely. And they're the ones, I think, the soldiers in particular, regardless of which government it is, and whether we agree with them or disagree. But I think soldiers, police officers, these are the people that I think deserve the utmost respect, because they're the one who pays the ultimate price to keep the
Absolutely, yeah.
country safe, whether that was the previous government or whether that's current or the future one. You know, and again, the respect goes both ways, isn't it? You give a respect, you take a respect, and that's what you
Absolutely.
did.
The amount of respect they,
Yeah.
they showed me, it was incredible. I was like, okay, you see, this is respect both ways. So every day when I used to come back to the hotel, I would come with fruits, with some
Yeah.
bags of, food and etc. It was not, that they needed that, but it was
Mm.
just to show them that, listen, guys, you've been sitting here in this hot weather the whole day, try
Yeah.
to keep our security. So my job is to, do something back for you.
Absolutely.
And with the day when I was leaving, a lot of them were so upset, and some of them used to come to me and say to me, Diva, we see on social media, so much of criticism on you, but
Mm.
listen, we are with you. We are your brothers, okay?
There you go.
We will protect you. Don't worry what they say. We know you've got good heart. A
Yeah.
lot of silly things I was telling them. I was like, listen, when you come into public and when you speak about Afghanistan politics, you have to accept all these things.
Yes.
I have accepted all these things. It doesn't bother me
Mm.
anymore. What is very important for me is you people. What I see on reality, that the respect that you guys show me, that means million to me than what
Absolutely.
social media people are. The things that their opinion doesn't matter to me at all.
No.
I think, like I said, it's all respect.
Yeah.
It's just, this is the respect that we're lacking to show to each other,
Mm.
to our soldiers, to the people who really wants to work hard for the
Yeah.
country, and also a respect of different opinions.
Absolutely.
I have friends that they have completely different opinion, but when we sit together, we have respect with each other.
Yeah.
We talk about the differences, but then with respectful way, but not, using bad language or not being friends with each other. You mentioned a few names that, okay, they are against, what I say, or they are,
Mm.
they want war in Afghanistan. We talk. I try to, speak my mind.
It
They
would be
speak their
lovely
mind.
if, because I think, sorry, you'd be lovely to have them on this platform to speak to them as an Afghan to Afghan, because, like as you said, I think they have that military mindset. They're trained as a military, and they are the people who, the ones that we talked about, for example, are trained to safeguard the country, and so they're seeing that the country has been, for example, going in a different direction. So it'd be lovely to have them on board here as well sometime.
Absolutely. And also,
Yeah.
one other thing that we need to remember, that they were not, as the country leaders, so they
Yeah.
had to follow orders
Yeah.
and commands. And now that they are out of Afghanistan,
Yeah.
they try to do their best to find a way.
I
And
think
if
so.
that's the
Yeah.
way, then we talk to each other. And this is
Yeah.
when the differences come. And this is the beauty of life, where
Yeah.
we accept each other, respect each other,
Yeah.
and try to change. If somebody sits with me and tells me, no, Diva, you're wrong, and I hear them that they are actually, well, yeah, it does make sense, then
Yeah.
of course I take that on board, because we learn every single day.
Absolutely.
But like I said, from that example that I gave you, it's all to do with respect.
Yes.
Believe me or not, even if it's somebody who is going to just blow up themselves, but if you show them respect and love, they will not do it. They will not
Yes.
harm you.
No, that's
But we have
yeah.
never done this.
No, no, that's very true. So going back to that education side of it, if Afghanistan is so safe, because the last few videos and that I've watched from some of the Afghanistan, the Taliban leaders currently in place, they're saying, okay, the country is safe, but it's not the right time, or the circumstances or the situation does not allow for the girls and the women to access the education beyond year six. What do you think is stopping that, for example, and what should happen now, for example? Because given that they're saying it's safe, if it's safe, then why can't the girls and the women go to education? What do you think should happen?
Look, it's all mindset,
Mm.
okay? they have that mindset where they think that the old Taliban, I'm talking about the old generation,
Yeah.
especially people who are very close to, to the leadership of the Taliban. So they think that we were fighting for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
The reason of our fight is to, bring security and bring that Afghaniyat or respect back
Yeah.
into my country. And especially they usually start is from their ghairat. Ghairat is their female.
Yeah.
So the ladies is usually, we try to keep our ladies very, safe and try to, protect them.
Yeah.
Because this is the mindset that they grew up, and now that they're in leadership, and because this is the mindset that they worked toward the bottom up approach, and now if they now in the leadership, they think, well, you know what, we're gonna keep the universities open, we'll keep the schools open. The people who were fighting or were with them for these 20 years, they were educating them that this is haram, this is not good, the way the education system works. University, look at the girls going to university, this is very bad, woman is for house. This is the mentality they made a lot of their soldiers to grow up. And now if they, within 2 years say that, oh, you know what, we're going to keep the universities open, we'll keep the schools open, they get questioned.
Yeah.
All those fighters that were with them, they might turn back and go to Daesh. And this is what they're scared of. They think that, well, all these people that we invested for all these years, they might turn their back and say that, well, we don't think you're a good Muslim anymore because what you were saying, you're doing it right now, what in Jamhuriyat people used to say and do. So you're just copying them. So what is the difference between you and them? I know there's security, but we're against this because this is how they were brought up, that, woman is for the house and no education system. We're not ready for it. We need to do it very slowly, and etc. So they're scared losing their own soldiers to Daesh. This is why they're doing it so slowly, because right now within the Taliban, they have a big, some of them think that education is good, some of them think education is not good. They need to convince each other, because otherwise, if they just start and those who are not convinced, there's a fight between themselves will happen.
Yeah.
So they are actually talking about the cost as like, okay, what is costing us more? Is it good to have schools open but then conflict within ourselves, or is it good to have schools closed but no conflict within ourselves, but then we're going to work with each other so that we can convince the rest? I think it's all about certain individuals. Like I said at the beginning, it was at the beginning there were a lot of people who were against schools, but now from my understanding is, and the information that I get, that there are not many of them. But this is what they're scared of. Like I said, if they open schools, if they let women go to work as it used to be before, but then what is the difference between Jamhuriyat and the Taliban? There's no difference. That's how they see it. But I understand your point. There is security, like they say. Then why are you not opening schools?
Yeah.
The reason why they're not opening schools is because of the bottom-up approach that they use with the mentality that they've completely brainwashed some of their soldiers, and they're scared of them now.
So basically, what would happen is, from if I understood correctly here, is that they will try to convince themselves first, the small minority who are in a powerful position. Once they are convinced, then the schools will slowly, hopefully, open, because it's been almost 3 years, and the consequence of that could be very devastating. For example, we wouldn't have nurses, we wouldn't have educated mothers, we wouldn't have teachers and doctors and so on. So the hope here is, from what you outlined, that slowly, let's say maybe by end of this year or beginning of next year, we may see that the bottom up approach may work, and we'll have our sisters and our daughters back to education.
Well, I hope so. Look, the thing is that we live with hopes.
Yeah.
We cannot give up on our hopes, but this is something that we Afghans, if we can, from whichever platform, is to say the things that isn't the benefit of our country. It isn't the benefit of our country to open schools, and this is something that we have to lobby, and we have to dictate and keep talking until our voices get heard, and some actions are taken. Of course, our country has been through this before. For 5 years there was literally no education for women, nothing. We did come up come out of that situation, because our people are very strong-minded, very strong people. Once we are given that opportunity, we work toward that opportunity. We turn those opportunity to something bigger. And I think that once they will reopen schools, of course it will be something big, because for 2-3 years you don't have no education, you sit at home, you don't learn nothing. It will be difficult, but like I said, we are not giving up on our hopes, and I really hope that the Taliban will try to come out of this situation and try to convince their leadership. If not, then they need to think about the Afghan people. They need to think about their own fate, because if they continue like this, I don't think that they will be able to stay. It might be them losing their all power just because they're not allowing women to go to education.
Absolutely. And Diva, as a political analyst, what are your thoughts on the recent unjustifiable airstrike of Pakistan in Afghanistan that killed 8 women and children? I know you talked about Pakistan a little bit earlier, but this particular airstrike that they've conducted now, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, they usually would use anything possible to provoke the Afghan government. They used to do this in the past as well, so that they can show some reaction, and then the reaction will be able then to justify certain things, that they're going to go to UN and to the international community to claim that, well, there is terrorism, this is why we had some intelligence. But this time they really failed badly, because even their intelligence was wrong too. We went because of this guy, but then this guy turns out, not to be killed, and he makes a video. I think there was it was a bad intelligence failure from the Pakistan side. But at the same time, like I said, Pakistan doesn't want peace in Afghanistan. They want, Afghanistan to be destabilized and, fight with each other, people to fight with each other. This is why they always support whoever is in the government. Usually Pakistan will support the opposite side. They used to support the Taliban during Jamhuriyat, and now they started, supporting people who were the next day their guests in Pakistan. So they always would try to use those Afghans. But it's very unfortunate that even at their age, when you're 40 plus and 50 plus, 60 plus, even at that age, people are able to use you. It really shows, what a weak and unknowledgeable and Afghan you are, who doesn't really understand the history. What really matters to them is just power. So Pakistan will continue doing this. You will see that even in the UK, they have already started lobbying, for a change in Afghanistan. You will see slowly that a lot of Afghans, people who want war in Afghanistan, they will start, talking good about it. Good about Pakistan. We've seen it also in this airstrike that they killed Afghans, but then some of Afghans, not all, some of the Afghans, we've seen it like it was good what they've done. That they were happy for Pakistan to bomb Afghanistan. It was only because, well, we don't like the Taliban, so whoever you kill, just keep killing them, which is a very wrong statement. But like I said, Pakistan will continue to provoke and to lobby for their own agenda. Also remember that the situation in Pakistan is not good at all. There is a lot of problems. There are more problems in Pakistan than in Afghanistan right now. At least we're united, Dr. Arsad. If this would have happened, the situation, the collapse happens tomorrow in Pakistan, Pakistan will be divided by 5 provinces. All of them will be divided. Sindh will be divided, Punjab and, Balochistan, Pashtunistan, and all of them. None of them wants to be part of that corrupt, establishment.
I think so.
People from Afghanistan and people from Pakistan, they're friends with each other. But I think it's just the establishment, the military establishment, that has a huge issue.
I think so. And I think you kind of outlined there as well. But again, from your political analysis point of view, how do you see Pakistan as a neighbor of Afghanistan? We know that for the past 40 years or even beyond that, the evilship that they've been conducting in Afghanistan, supporting the opposition side, whichever government has been in place. For example, in the last Republic government, we've seen lots of issues from the Pakistan side, for example, whether that's a commercial side or the military side or the business and overall the political side as well. We have no problem, personally speaking, with the people of Pakistan, the general people of Pakistan. But as you mentioned, the army, the establishment is a completely different platform where the problems begin. So, as a neighbor, how do you see Pakistan?
Well, Pakistan is in a big trouble right now. I don't think so. People from Pakistan are happy with their establishment. They're not happy with their government, the government which came by force. A lot of Pakistanis, they don't accept elections, the way they conducted it, the way they're still treating Imran Khan,
Yeah,
and the way they put innocent people into prison. I think the dictatorship that is happening in Pakistan is not good for them. And also at the same time, Dr. Saab, it's the military establishment that's keeping their unity.
yeah,
Because people are scared. That's why they are, united. The country is destabilized that right
yeah,
now. We can see that so many terrorist activities is happening. TTP is a big problem for
yeah,
the country. They thought that, well, if we bring the Taliban, but they never thought that, okay, you bring in the Taliban, but then at the same time you're opening another book for the TTP.
yeah,
They start thinking and dreaming, oh, if this could have happened, this happened in Afghanistan, why not now not happening in Pakistan?
yeah,
Like I said, Pakistan is in a big trouble. I don't think so that they would be able to, bring this unity within Afghans. They can only do it for a short time to distract some Afghans, but in long terms, all Afghans are very strongly united, especially against our neighboring countries. I think when it comes, we put all our differences aside. Then we deal with our external enemies.
yeah,
It will be in Pakistan's best interest to work with whichever government is in place in the country to try to destabilize our country or try to do something to our people to kill them. In long term, it's going to cost them a lot,
I
and it's
think,
already costing them a lot. We can
yeah,
see this. Look at the destabilization
yeah,
in Pakistan. I don't think so. They are really happy. Even international community now understands that they are the daddies of the terrorism. They
yeah,
are the one who are giving them food and
yeah,
money and keeping them and shelter and etc. But then once they grown up, they understand, oh, actually, this is the things that the tactics that they show, the terrorism is actually used back against them.
yeah,
I hope that they give up on this. I hope that they try to work toward a friendly relationship with our country.
yeah,
I'm not happy to be not friends with the Taliban. With the not, I'm not happy not to be friends with the Pakistanis
mhm,
or with the Pakistan government. I want my country to be friends with them, but not to kill my people. This is when
absolutely,
we get very frustrated, and this is when we raise our voices.
absolutely. Diva, you are the founder and CEO of Diva Group.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey? And I know you talked about your business at the start, of your journey of a business, and also what is the Diva Group?
Well, yes, I am the founder of Diva Group.
Mhm,
It's an import and export company. I've got my own brand, which it's mainly household items that we sell. It used to be a small platform online, but then I worked toward it so that I can make it bigger. And now my brand is sold throughout the whole UK and also
mhm,
internationally. If somebody wants to order, we don't have shops where people can visit us. It's
yeah,
all online.
mhm,
So it's different brands that I do. It's quite big. It turned out to be big slowly now. A lot of people are working there.
mhm,
We've got a good team. So I don't know what to say. It's so difficult to talk about your own business. But yes, it's one thing that I'm very happy. I've got my own Afghanistan flag in my office
yeah,
that makes me very, very proud. a lot of, the meetings that I have, people are asking me, some of them, they don't even know that I come from Afghanistan. When they come and I tell them I come from Afghanistan, this is my flag, the beautiful three colors,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, such a beautiful, flag you've got. So I want to show them, that I love my country,
Yeah.
although
Of course.
I, work in here, but I haven't forgotten my country. So yeah, it's an import and export business, and we serve about 20,000 people on daily basis,
Wow.
and we've got hundreds of people working there.
Oh, that's great to hear. And I think your love and your aspiration for your country has been evidence in not just in your business as a successful business person, but also from all of your engagement and previous works that we have discussed. I think that has been seen, I think, and the different people that I have spoken with. I think there's a lot of young women and men that I've engaged with across different platforms that they really do admire you. They look up to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And
One thing I want, our youngsters to remember that try to put a goal in your life and work toward that goal. Never forget your own faith. Never forget your own parents. Never forget your family, and never forget that you can bring a change
yeah,
when you work hard. You will be able to help a lot of other people. And to be very honest, it was at the beginning when I started my business. A lot of people were trying to criticize me, saying that, oh, you're a female, I don't think so that you will be
yeah,
able to do it. You can't make it grow. You will be bankrupt, and you lose all your money that you're putting into the business, and etc. But I was like, no, I want to show you, and I want to prove
yeah,
that I can do it. The only thing that it needs is dedication and hard work. Wake up early, don't sleep till late. Try to work toward your goals, but at the same time, always be say shukr.
yeah,
Always try to thank your God for what you
yeah.
have, because without, not accepting what God has given you and appreciating that, He can take it within a minute. So believe me or not, every single time I enter my office, every single time I enter that building, I say that, shukr
Yeah,
khudaya,
absolutely. Yeah,
God has given me what I work hard for, and God has allowed me to be able to help other people,
absolutely.
and this is something emotionally really connects me. And at the same time, respect to parents. I respect my parents first. I would go and pray, سجده خدای
Of
تقدمه,
course.
and then I will kiss my parents'
Yeah.
feet and hands. This is how much respect I have for them, because without them and without their blessings, I don't think so I would have been able to be where I am right now. So I'm very
Wow.
grateful for them, and grateful for their encouragement, and for keep telling me that don't worry what people say, just keep doing and fighting for what your dreams are.
I think, look, what you just outlined there, it's not many youngsters actually do that. That gratefulness to God, and also that the support and the gratefulness towards the parents. The duty that we have as a son or as a daughter towards our parents is a great amount. And I think, like as you said, one of the secret of the success could be, in addition to your hard work and the vision that you set up, is the gratefulness towards God, and also the thank that you give to your parents, and the respect that you show to your father. So honestly, you are a role model and an inspiration to many people, and I hope this episode reach out to lots of other people who can watch this and say, okay, you know what, even if I'm a woman, I'm from an ethnic minority, I'm a Muslim, I live in the UK or other parts of the world, but there is a hope, there is something that can wait for me if I put the work into it. Without the hard work, nothing can be done. So, Diva, coming to an end now. So, what is your aspiration or vision for the future of Afghanistan? Particularly, we talked about the women's rights and education and or societal progress.
Well, I have huge hopes, and and a huge dream that one day I would be able to, go to my country and work there. Have my business there, have branches there, have people working, on the different big projects. This is a big dream that I have, but I'm gonna work for it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna, try my best. to do everything possible on my capability. Every individual, if tries their best, I think we can make a huge difference. I don't see that we've still lost it. We've still got a lot of hopes. I think we can pick up our country, make it a better place for all of us to live there. The only thing that we as Muslims we have to remember, give zakat.
Yeah.
Always try to give zakat. Zakat is so important. It will turn your income into 1,000 times more.
Yeah.
Dr. Ashraf, I cannot remember even one single year that I've not given zakat.
Mashallah.
Some people say to me, and I tell a lot of business men and women, I say to them, listen, you're making all these millions of pounds. Give zakat. Believe me, that millions of pounds will turn into trillions of pounds for you, because zakat is so powerful. And this is something that I do. And this is also part of the success. If you want to be successful, if you want to, bring barakat to your work and bring, more hard work, and God will actually be with you, because God then will know that, okay, this individual, I am giving, everything that they wish for, but then at the same time, I am, as your God telling you have to give zakat, but you're not giving it, then okay, I'm not going to give you anymore. So never try to be stingy. Try to give zakat. Try to help your Afghans. Try to be there for your family and friends. Be kind to each other. Even if you don't agree with them, never use bad language. Try to talk to people, even if they disagree with you, even if they say something bad to you. So this is something that's. As my last message would be that I might not look very religious, but in my heart, I'm very, very religious person. I strongly, believe in God, and I strongly believe in power of God, because what I have today, it's all because of Him, and it's that I'm able to breathe is because of Him, and everything around me that I have is because of God. And I think we have to be thankful and just help each other, try to be kind to each other. I think that will bring a lot of good things in your life. I am not a person, you will never see me that I would use bad language. You will never see me where I would, go into arguments with people. Even if I hear something bad, my response will be always kindness, because I believe in kindness. And this is why I'm able to keep friends from different minority, from different sectors, and from different mentality and thinking. I have friends from within the government, currently government. I have friends from the previous government. I have friends who want war in Afghanistan. I have friends who doesn't want war in Afghanistan. It's all about kindness and talking to each other and bringing people to reality to think differently.
Absolutely. What a powerful message that is, Diva. And honestly, I agree with what you have said, is especially about the friendness and the kindness aspect as well. One of the things that I can say before I conclude is, although you lead such a busy life, business, and with all of the other TVs that you engage in, and I closely follow those, I messaged you for this podcast, and I think you straight away came back and said, "Yep, you are more than happy to contribute." And then it was delayed from my end, even since the December to start all this. You always willing to kind of help and contribute, and that kindness has been, I think, evidenced throughout from as many years that I have known you, and I think God will continue to bless you, and
Thank you.
thank you for your time, and thank you for providing the insight about Afghanistan and your journey to Afghanistan, and also your journey to in the business and everything that you have achieved. I can only wish you all the best with everything that you do.
Thank you so much for having me on your program, for showing that respect. It's my pleasure to be, on your podcast, and I'm very proud of you. I'm very, very proud
Thank
of
you.
you to, have that title, Dr. Ayaz Safi.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. You worked very, very hard, knowing you for all these years, and doing something like this, taking your time and try to, pass messages to Afghan. This is, the something that we can do. Every person, if they do something for their country, will make a difference to our new generation, because our concentration should be on our new generation, so that they understand the history, the beautiful history we have, the beautiful places we have in Afghanistan. We don't want where we tell people we come from Afghanistan and then tell them, oh, okay, terrorism, oh, okay, people dying. No, we want to show the nice part. And even if people criticize us, believe me, on the long term, that new generation will have a lot to learn from.
Yes.
And at the same time, like you said, people who want or who are messaging me, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, to be there for them, to be responsive. People who I know, like yourself, Dr. Ashraf, that I know for years, and I have huge respect for you.
Thank you.
I will be always there. And of course, it's my duty. If you show me respect, I have to show you respect back. And if I don't show you respect back, it's actually me who looks bad. So I will always be there for my people. I will be always there to raise my voice. And if I can do anything for them, I'm always there for them.
Thank you, Diva. Honestly, thank you so much.